Hey there, VCE HHD students. My name's Andy. I'm a VC Health and Human Development teacher. In this short video, we're looking at factors such as equity, social justice, community values, and funding in relation to government and non-government programs for youth health and wellbeing. This is part of Unit 1 HHD for the 2025 plus HHD study design. If you haven't already, there's a range of different ways you can engage with the Health Resources Hub. If you're on YouTube at the moment, you can subscribe at the button in the bottom corner of the video there to our YouTube channel, and that means you'll get alerts to all of our new videos coming out across the year. Also got our website, the hrh.net.au, where there's opportunities for students and teachers, and that's being updated regularly, so please check that out. We've got our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook pages. If you follow us there, you'll get alerts to our new videos and other opportunities, as well as SAC and exam tips and advice, and also our email, info@thehrh.net.au, if you'd like to get in touch. So what parts of the course does this video relate to? So you can see here the Unit 1 Key Knowledge mentions government and non-government programs relating to youth health and wellbeing. So hopefully in class or in the resources you've got access to, you've had a look at a number of government and non-government programs. And so these might be things such as -18 or Reach Out. And so the idea is that you need to be able to describe, I would say, a couple of these programs and get a sense of how they're benefiting youth health and wellbeing. So being able to link them, obviously, dimensions of health and wellbeing. But you can also see there that the key skill is asking you to analyze factors that influence the creation and implementation of and access to programs that target youth health, such as equity, social justice, community values, and funding. And so that's going to be the focus of the video here today. And so I always say to students, important not only to look at the key knowledge, but also the key skills when it comes to preparing for assessments. And that is because often you'll see, like this key skill here, there's some additional information that you're required to know and be able to, I guess, apply to the key knowledge. And so that's the, I guess, key lesson from this example here, because in the key knowledge, it just mentions government and non-government programs relating to youth health and wellbeing. But in the key skill, you need to know, okay, what these terms equity, social justice, community values, and funding mean in relation to the creation and implementation of and access to these programs. And so that's what we're going to have a look at today. So first of all, we'll touch on equity. And so for each of these different examples that we're going to look at, what you can then go back and do is look at some of the programs that you have learnt in class or you've got access to in your school resources and think about, does this apply to that particular program? And how could I give an example from that program that relates to this example? So for equity, we're looking at something that is addressing factors that cause inequality and provides strategies to ensure fairness. And so it's ensuring that, I guess, there's no discrimination and that in particular youth programs are created so that there's no barriers to participation, especially for specific disadvantaged groups. And so that could include reducing the cost as a barrier by making a program low cost or free, and might be reducing distance as a barrier by providing programs in rural and remote areas, or reducing discrimination by taking into consideration, okay, youth diversity and prioritizing inclusivity. So if you are looking at a program and you can identify some of those features in that program, you can then link that into how that program is demonstrating equity. So it says there in the last point that equity is not necessarily about treating everyone equally. So it's not the same as equality, but it's providing what individuals or groups require to achieve optimal health and well-being. So that means that some young people might require extra support to achieve high levels of health and well-being, and that can be provided often via these particular programs. Okay, the next example is social justice, and social justice relates to fairness within society. And so it's the fair and equitable distribution of resources, opportunities, and privileges in society. And it has 4 different principles. And one of those principles is equity. You can see that down the bottom there, the 4th one that's listed there. And so what we've just talked about in relation to equity is also linked into social justice. You can see the other ones there mention human rights. So it's saying that society should protect and respect and promote everyone's rights and freedoms. And so that means there shouldn't be essentially discrimination based on a range of factors like race, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Also, it mentions there access. So everyone should have, okay, the opportunity to access and engage. And in this example, we're talking about, in particular, youth, okay, in programs that help them to thrive. Okay, so we're focusing particularly on these youth programs and ensuring there's access to those, and so reducing barriers. Participation, so everyone in society is encouraged to participate in the community and have their voice represented. So in these programs, okay, if the program provides an opportunity for youth to be heard, okay, and to participate in that, then that can demonstrate this aspect of social justice. And as we mentioned before, social justice also includes equity. So down the bottom there, it mentions that by incorporating these principles wherever possible, okay, in the creation of these youth health programs, that means that social justice is being upheld, okay, and the programs are being fair and they're not discriminating. And there's some examples again, once again, of some of those characteristics that are linked into often discrimination. The next one is community values. So community values is essentially looking at things that a community considers important. And so they're shared priorities and beliefs that help to guide the decisions and interactions of a community. And so in relation to youth health and wellbeing programs, communities have particular expectations regarding what these programs will look like. And once again, here are a couple of examples of things you can look out for and then link into the idea that the program is demonstrating community values. So once again, accessibility, so they should be available for youth to access at times that are appropriate given that stage of the lifespan. So if the program, for example, is only open, say, weekdays in the middle of the day, that might not be very accessible because most youth are obviously at school. Okay, so making sure the program's accessible and perhaps in a number of ways. There might be aspects that are available online, etc., and it shouldn't discriminate. The next one is effective. So the program should lead to improvements in youth health and wellbeing and health status. So it should be a program that actually has some demonstrable outcomes. It can demonstrate how it is actually improving the health and wellbeing and lives of youth. It should be safe, so it should be an environment where young people are free from any type of harm and they can be themselves in that environment that's respectful and confidential. And finally, it should be strengths-based. So it shouldn't just center on problems or deficits, but it should build skills that allow young people to be empowered and to improve their health and wellbeing. So that could be things like communication skills, resilience skills, help-seeking skills. So that's what it means by a strengths-based program. So if you can, once again, link some of these things into the programs you've learned about, you can mention how it can then demonstrate some of these community values. And then finally, funding. Okay, so in order for youth programs to be viable, they obviously need some source of funding to keep the program running. And so that could come from a specific level of governments. That could be state, or it might be local government, like a local council, or it could be a collaboration of organizations that may have come together to fund a particular program. And so some programs might charge fees for participation, but for youth programs, that's probably a barrier to youth participating. So that's pretty uncommon. So often this funding, okay, will need to cover the whole aspect or the whole running of that particular program. And so in relation to other parts of the health system, health promotion programs do receive relatively low amounts of funding from government, even though they are focused on preventing health issues from arising. Sometimes that's not the same priority as, say, funding for something that's focused on treatment, such as GPs or hospitals and things like that. And so the amount of funding that a program does have, okay, can obviously influence how widely it's distributed, okay, whether that be just in a particular local council area or whether it be something like statewide or even sort of nationwide if it's got federal government funding perhaps. And therefore funding is really important to ensure that programs can reach youth and can run on an ongoing basis so they can continue to assist youth to improve their health and wellbeing and health status. Okay, hopefully you found that video useful. If you know some students that are in Unit 3 and 4, you might want to alert them to this revision questions book that we've got available at book.acevc.com, which has got lots of practice questions for SAC and exam preparation. You can also see there our website, so you can head to our website and there's opportunities for students and teachers there. And you can also look back through our YouTube channel where there's lots of other videos that are available to assist with Unit 1-2 students. Okay, hopefully you found that video useful. Thanks so much.